Welcome back to the Sword and Musket channel, where we look at, discuss, investigate all the different aspects of arms collecting. Today I want to talk about the Krag Carbine, the US Krag Carbine made by Springfield. I've got two carbines here, and as I had them both at the same time, I just wanted to show you some of the pitfalls of chasing after specifically a carbine, in that normally a carbine will be worth more money than a rifle. So there is a temptation within the trade and the less honest gentlemen to cut down rifles and make them into carbines. But with this example, it shows you how closely you have to look at these weapons to decide in yourself whether one is cut down or one is not. Now, in collecting terms, of course, it's a bit of a disaster if you pay more money because you think you found a genuine carbine and it turns out to be a rifle. In shooting terms, if you just want to have the thing to shoot it and enjoy the sensation of shooting a carbine, then there's not really a lot in it. But to that end, you should be paying less. So my point is, don't pay a high sum of money unless you're 100% sure that you're looking at a genuine carbine. So let's have a quick look at some of the features on these two weapons. Basically, it looks like we've got two carbines here. Now, I bought both of these from American auctions, and both of them were accurately described. The reason I bought the cut-down weapon was it came with a very, very fine example of a complete rifle. So as far as I was concerned, the carbine was just a bonus, and I knew it would sell to someone who purely wants them for shooting. But it's not until you look very, very closely that you can start to see the points that distinguish the two. So we're looking at exactly the same stock on both rifles. Both rifles have a trap in the butt plate for cleaning equipment. This rifle actually has an old vintage type sling on it. They're both 5-shot bolt action. Now, the lovely thing about the Krag, of course, was this wonderful side-loading mechanism where you open the magazine port at the side and then you simply drop 5 rounds in, all pointing in the right direction. When you close up the hatch, the whole thing grabs the rounds, pushes them into position, and they are fed through by travelling around underneath the barrel and up and into the breech. Rather clever, rather dandy invention. Obviously not purely built in America. As we move forward, you might notice that this example has got quite nice sharp edges to the finger groove. That's a better thing to look for in firearms collecting as opposed to this one that's a little bit soft. The groove's still there, but it's been quite seriously sanded down. 4 ends are the same. Now, what's quite interesting is there's a barrel retention spring here, which is acting against that ring. So we've got the exposed length of the barrel, these front sight ramps, to all intents and purposes, look the same height. Let's go back to the sights, because that's the important bit. So we look at this side, they're plain. Look at this side, they're plain. But can you see the difference between the shape of the ramp? That's a flat shape. This one is a much higher shape. It's got a more pronounced bump on it. Now, which one do you suppose is actually the Carbine? Well, if we turn this first example over and have a look at the other side, it's exactly the same on the other side, which it should be. We turn this example over and look at it on this side, and there's something quite obvious right in the middle of the ramp. C. C for Carbine. These sights, these are the 1902 pattern sights, had to be altered because of the different ballistic properties of the shorter barrel acting on the 30-40 cartridge. So that is the giveaway. So both of these, neither of these rifles have got the saddle ring, so you can't rely on that. It's purely the sights. And then the other thing is this band retention spring, which is correct, whereas this is incorrect because it is a shortened rifle stock. Then the final thing to look for, may be difficult to see in these circumstances are, but it is, underneath this rifle, the fore end, that is purely one piece of timber. No interruptions, no machining, it's smooth. If we look at the rifle, if we look at the Carbine that was a rifle beforehand, there it is. That is a filling in piece which has been placed into one of the lightning cuts which would run up the underside of the barrel on the full-length rifle. So it's not like a cleaning rod channel, it's a lightening cut, which are like routed channels that ran underneath the barrel to lighten the front end of the rifle. And if you didn't put that piece of wood in, you'd have a thumping great open hole there. So that shows the converted stock, the converted fore end, and obviously no room for the spring. So there you are. I hope you understand that. In the background is the first pattern leather rifle carrier, which will be on the side of the horse. The ring is iron. It's got a nice bit of verdigris, this green mould that appears on the, or corrosion that appears on the brass pieces. Very difficult to fake that. If we turn it over, it's this side. There in fact is an address with the initials of the inspector underneath, but it's almost impossible to read. But that patterning in the cracking of the leather is where the stamp used to be. So that's nice. Obviously the straps have been replaced because they'd died a horrible death. And in the base is a water drain hole to allow any water to run out, not pool around the muzzle of the rifle. So there you go, a little bit about Krags. Oh, the other thing on this stock is that it has no cartouches whatsoever. There are no inspection marks. There's no final proof stamp underneath. Whereas if we look at the genuine Carbine, we see JSA and 1899 Johnson Adams, and that lovely serifed proof mark P just behind the trigger guard. Now we can see here what's stored in the butt. That's a nice little oil bottle. But on the genuine one, if I can let you see, I've got the oil bottle and the 3 rods for cleaning the weapon. And if you put the oil bottle in lid first, it allows the rods to position themselves around the bottle and stop it from rattling. That's just the bolt that's making that noise. So these rifles that have a reputation for being beautifully made, they are basically over-engineered. You've got everything you possibly want on them. You've got a magazine cut-off, you've got a safety catch. The cartridge was what really let them down. Possibly it would not have withstood a more powerful cartridge like the Mauser cartridge. So you get a bit of beautiful nitro bluing on the spring there, the extractor spring. They are very, very nice weapons. And it would be a shame, I think, to take them to war, really. This case colour hardened finish on them. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with cutting your cloth to fit your budget. If you want to shoot a carbine, and there's one out there for a reasonable price that has been done well like this, I don't see a problem with it. But the problem I do see is people representing something that isn't what it says it is, and then asking for even more money for the privilege. So I hope you've enjoyed that. You can read about other stuff on the website at www.buyswordandmusket.co.uk. Click like and subscribe, and join us again for other interesting gun type videos.